Got me a little tiny little caramel macchiato this morning because it is officially back to school and mommy didn't sleep good last night, so this is probably one of the reasons why I don't, because I drank a lot of caffeine. I don't usually get Starbucks. I usually am a Dunkin' girl, but this morning Dunkin' Donuts line was out to the road. So they got really popular. I'm making this video because I wanted to talk about the little comment that I put down at the bottom of my video I did yesterday. So at the end of that video, I ended up having to cut it short because I got a phone call, obviously, that I already stated. The phone number, why I'm staring at the phone, why I was staring at the screen like that, was because it was a phone number that I didn't know, but then it had my city's name underneath it. So I was like, that could be anybody. I was like, it's local. So I sat there and stared at it for a minute because I almost didn't answer it. But, my nose. I almost didn't answer it. But then something came to me that was like, you did put in a lot of job applications the other day. So I was like, well, I probably should answer it. Anyways, it was my old job that I used to work at. I left the job back in December of last year. And the reason why was because at that time, I was only working 1 day a month. They kept continuously, like, the girl that was working there, that was the upper management at the time, she constantly was calling me off. Now, this is going to sound petty, but just hear me out. So I used to work there. I actually started there back in 2021. I started March of 2021, and I ended up getting a job there because my husband at the time ended up losing his job. And so we kind of just, it was like a really unfortunate situation. And because of the situation, it kind of like blindsided us. So we didn't know what to do. Now, mind you, I had not worked in about 3 or 4 years at that time. And I had no prior job experience. I hadn't worked anywhere. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I had no clue. And then one day I got into a conversation with my mom, and she started talking about a place my dad used to work at. And because my dad actually worked at this place for quite some time. And I think after that, my dad was yelling in the background, and he was like, go to this place. He's like, I used to work there. They'll probably hire you. Because my dad had just left. He had just left the place because he ended up getting a new job. So I was like, whatever, I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a shot. I don't know where else to go right now anyways, and I don't have any, like, opportunities, so I'll try it. Ended up getting the job on the spot, and I was really shocked because I had no experience in this when I first started. I had none. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about the position. Okay, so I'm just going to be transparent. So it was a housekeeping position. And obviously, I know how to housekeep because I'm a stay-at-home mom and wife, and I was at the time. I hate this concealer. This concealer is no good, you guys. I'm going to do a little quick review about this. This is the Be Pure Hydrating Under Eye Concealer from the Dollar Tree. This one I don't recommend. This is the only product out of the Be Pure lines that I do not like. It's really, like, harsh, and it's, like, really transparent. It doesn't do a very good job, so this is a no. I'm throwing that out. Anyways, so I didn't know what the heck I was getting myself into. I had no clue. Now, at this time, back in 2021, the management at this place was horrible. It was god-awful. I mean, I was working 6 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day. I was never home. I never saw my kids. I basically had a 2-year-old at the time that I never saw. He grew up without me even being around. Like, it was horrible. And I just busted my butt there. Like, I worked my ass off at this place, and I took a lot when I worked there at that time. I worked with people that shouldn't have been working there. I was working with people that shouldn't have had the job. Like I said, at that time, they had poor management. People were constantly leaving. They were quitting on the job. They would just walk out. I would be mid-shift, and it'd be like 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would go to go check on somebody, and they were gone. And there would be like 15 rooms that weren't done. And it would be like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, mind you, we're supposed to have all the rooms done by 3 because people start to check in. I'm talking Panicville, like Panicville. I'm like literally, at this time, it was only me and my fellow housekeeper that had stayed like I was. And neither one of us had the opportunity to leave because both of us were in bad positions. She was going through stuff. I was going through stuff. We both had kids. And we were like, whatever, we're just going to rock this out and we're going to make it work. Over time, the management there started getting so bad, and the employee rate there started getting so bad that they started looking at me and her as upper management. They started looking at us like, okay, you guys have been here the longest. This is kind of getting ridiculous. We're going to make you guys head and assistant head housekeeper. Now, this kind of came out of nowhere. We kind of knew it was going to happen eventually. Like, we knew like the place was going down the drain, and we knew that they were just kind of getting desperate. So they wanted to start hiring in more people, but they didn't know what to do with us because we had been there for so long. They were like, we got to do something with these guys before we start hiring in more people. This was post-COVID. We were only 1 year out of COVID, and we literally were still in the mass stage, like everything. But now, as 2022 is starting to approach, our boss was like, but we're going to start like adding more stuffs to the room. You're going to start having more things to do. Things are going to change and whatever. So that's why we have to bring in more people, and we're changing your guys' titles. Cool. Awesome. Meanwhile, we did not get a raise, either one of us. This is how poor the management was at the time. We did not get a raise. Our tips were still being stolen from us at the time. And it was just very strange. But whatever, we both stayed because we needed our money and we needed our paychecks. So I just stayed. Once my coworker ended up becoming upper management, she became head housekeeper, the whole dynamic of our relationship ended up changing. Now, did it have to? No, not at all. We did not, our dynamic of our relationship did not have to change. Little did I know, and I didn't realize it, I knew that she had problems. I never have hair pieces. I don't know why I always do this, and then my hair will float into my foundation. I thought I had a hair tie. I don't. I'll be right back, you guys. Little did I know. Well, I knew that she had some problems at home. I knew that she was homeless. I knew that she was going through stuff, but I didn't know and realize how bad it actually was. So when she became upper management, she became head housekeeper, she changed dramatically in a bad way. She did not respect her coworkers and the people that were underneath her. She started to take advantage of her position. And when I say take advantage, fully take advantage. So they hired in a bunch of new people. And they did this. I was in charge of helping them. She was in charge of helping them, guiding them, training them, showing them the ropes, etc. My position was to do the same. When the new people started working there, my coworker wasn't doing that. My position became a ghost position, and I really wasn't getting my position. I wasn't in the scope of my job. I was getting treated like a regular housekeeper. Started doing the work of other people. Started having to do things that I wasn't supposed to do. It kind of got worse. Couldn't figure out what was going on. She started to just not be on the job. She was just like, she would disappear for hours on end. I didn't know where she was. She would just be gone. One day I went down into the room, to the laundry room, to check, just to see. I was going to either ask her a question, or when I got down there, she had her feet kicked up on the desk and she was sitting back on her cell phone. Meanwhile, we were in the midst. It was the morning time. It was in the midst of trying to get rooms, ready and checked off the list and get to the customers that were staying over and they needed their stuff. We were going insane. We had new people that were there. They didn't know what they were doing. They had no idea what to do. I needed help, and this was not coming from her. When I asked her for help, she got irritated, which was kind of confusing to me. I didn't understand where this new attitude was coming from. So I started getting burnt out, and we were upstairs. Like I said, she really wasn't doing anything. And I told her, I said that about a week or two prior, her and one of my other coworkers that had worked there for a very long time got in a huge argument because she started being disrespectful towards her. She quit. The other coworker quit on the spot. She left. She was the head housekeeper, and she quit. She left because of her. She couldn't deal with her anymore. Anyways, long story short, we're upstairs, and I just basically said to her that I was tired. I'm really exhausted. And she looks at me, because I could tell she was getting irritated. She wanted to go back down and go sit. She says to me, well, we're all tired. Like, I'm tired too. She never talked to me like this. We always vented to each other. But the new position was getting to her head. Basically, she was telling me to just shut up and do my job, and I need to go back downstairs so I can go sit down. I don't want to be doing this. I found out she was a pill popper. She was a major alcoholic. She was drinking on the job. She was drinking before she came to work. She was sniffing pills and doing all kinds of stuff while she was on the job. She'd find pills in the room, or she'd have pills in her pocket. She'd crush them up on the desk and she'd snort them right there in the room. She'd start hallucinating. She was seeing things that weren't there. This is the reason why she was acting the way she was acting. She was high and she was probably drunk. When I looked at her, I started to get frustrated, and I said, don't start acting like, I'm not going to say her name, the girl that had quit a week prior, because she was trying to act like her. So she really didn't know what she was doing. She was just copying attitudes. This sent her over the edge. Now, I said it in a jokingly way. I wasn't saying it seriously. I was just kidding around like we always did. But I didn't know she had a drinking problem and that she had all these mental health issues. She went off. She was screaming at the top of her lungs in the utility room. All the customers could hear her. Our upper management was not there. She had left for the day. She left us in charge. I think that's another reason why she took advantage of that. She fully took advantage of it in an immature way. She should have never, ever been head housekeeper, and it should have never happened. The owner wasn't aware of this. The upper management knew she had a drug problem. She knew she was mental. She knew that she was popping pills and drinking. The upper management would just have her go in the bathroom real quick, the employee bathroom, brush her teeth, put on some perfume, pop on some makeup, and do her job. She never sent her home, and then she would just take her rage out on the customers and her fellow employees. This is what happened that day. Well, at that time, like I said, I didn't know. All I know is that when I went downstairs, I tried talking to her, and she was screaming as loud as she could, yelling in my face, "Do your job!" Just going off. At this point, it didn't make sense anymore. She was just being completely unprofessional, and she was embarrassing me. She was embarrassing all my coworkers, and all the customers out there were bending their head around like, what's going on? They had no idea. This is a hotel, so the floor, the room that we were in was on the floor where guests were staying as well. They probably heard her. I didn't want any part of this anymore. I wasn't getting paid enough. And I also was missing a lot of time with my kids. I was already frustrated they made her head housekeeper and that she didn't do her job. And I caught her not doing her job. I walked. I left. I grabbed my coat, I grabbed my purse and my keys, and I left. And I could hear her screaming out the door as I left. You're never getting your job back here ever again. I'll make sure you never get hired back. She didn't have that power. Regardless, like I said, she was drunk. I want to say about a month or two later, maybe it was a little bit longer than that. I got a text message out of the blue from the owner herself. This wasn't the management that knew, it was the owner, begging me to come back. They were going to pay me above the amount that I was getting prior. They wanted to make me head housekeeper. Now, when they said this, I knew something happened. I already knew what it was. They found out. The owner found out what the upper management was allowing, and they fired her. When I got there, sure crap, they told me she got caught drinking. And she was drunk, and she started screaming like she did at me, at the owner. And she was doing it to the owner. I told the owner what was going on. I showed her the text messages that she was sending me the night that she flipped out on me. She was basically threatening me, saying that I would never work in this town ever again. Nobody would ever want me. It was very cliche, the things that she was saying, but she was drunk. She was saying nobody would want me. She's like, nobody cares about you. You're a shitty worker, blah, 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 etc., etc. Funny part is a month later after I showed her these text messages, it was the complete opposite, and she was the one that was the shitty worker. They told me that she was the one that was doing all the bad things, and they didn't want her. They wanted me. They apologized to me. They said that they didn't know what to do. They were, everything was screwed up because of the decision that upper management had made. So I did have some conditions. I did tell them, if I'm going to take this position, I'm not working as much as I did. I'm not working 6 to 7 days a week. I'm not working, long, long shifts. I do have to be with my children. The list, When I got in there, the very, very first day I was back, it started all over again. I found out from the upper management, not the owner, she had only suspended her and she was coming back. She had only suspended her for 2 weeks, the one that caused all the problems. They told me, the owner said that they had fired her. This was not true. Upper management told me that wasn't true. They said that they had only suspended her. The only reason why they told me that is because they wanted me to get in there because they didn't have a head housekeeper at the time because she was suspended. So now I'm on pins and needles. Knowing full well this girl's coming back, and knowing that she's going to come back with a really bad attitude and she's also going to be irritated I took her position. She already has a thing against me. Now it's going to make it 50 times worse. So all this is running through my mind while I'm there. Also, the first day that I come back, I got left with the whole entire hotel to myself. Nobody was there. It was just me by myself with the whole chart of rooms. There was nobody there. Everybody had quit. I'm by myself. Now, mind you, I don't mind my job. The job itself is not hard. It's not a hard job. You just clean a room. That's all you do. Lots of rooms, but you just clean them. That's it. There's it's not rocket science. It's a really easy, because the work is easy. It's not hard. I mean, it's not easy, but it's like, it's not hard to figure out, I guess I should say. Anyways. My neighbors complain about when the cat's out here. We've been having a problem with the cat out here. She's really nasty, and she's been jumping up in the windows, and she gets in our cat's face, and she makes our cat sick. My cat has a virus right now because of her. And I've told my landlord about it. She does nothing about it. She don't care. Anyways, so the very first day I was there, all this happened. I'm alone. And I'm just staring down at this hallway. And I'm thinking to myself, there's two things right now. One, everybody quit. I'm just alone. For how long? Two, the girl that caused all the problems, she's coming back in 2 weeks. And it was going to cause a lot of problems. The upper management that day said she was going to help me. She said that she was going to help me clean the rooms and everything else in between. She did not. 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she comes upstairs and says, I'm going home. I'm done for the day. Meanwhile, she didn't do anything that day. She did nothing. I did them all. Because we're just going to pack it up for the day. We're done. Now, I'm a little bit confused at this point because if me and my ex-coworker tried doing that, we would have got yelled at. We were not allowed to leave until all the rooms were finished. I'm talking, I didn't get out of there sometimes till 6, 7 o'clock at night. She was making me stay way over the amount that I was supposed to stay. Because she didn't want to do it because there was nobody else there besides me and her. She said, we're leaving early. Everything just started to kind of seem weird. On my drive home, I came to the conclusion that it wasn't going to work. I knew that something was not right. I knew it wasn't, in the future, it wasn't going to work out. There was too many question marks. There was too many things that didn't make sense. There was just too much. I knew that I was going to get taken advantage of again, and I knew that it wasn't going to work out in the long run when she came back. I knew that me and her couldn't work together. I knew that when she came back, she was going to do everything in her power to get me fired, or she was going to get me to quit. She was either that, she was going to attack me. She was going to start yelling and screaming at me again and pushing me and trying to make me do things I'm not supposed to do in my scope of my work and breaking my back to make me work hard because she didn't want to be around me. I knew that upper management wasn't going to do anything about it, and upper management wasn't there enough to even realize what was going on. And I also came to the conclusion it wasn't my problem and it wasn't my responsibility to clean up the mess that they had made. They should have listened to me to begin with, and they didn't. They didn't want to. They took advantage of me. And then once their backs were up against the wall and they realized what a crappy worker she actually was, and she took their anger out on them, and she started going off on them, they realized that I was right. But it was a little bit too late. I'd already settled in at home. I already had I had a good family life. My husband was doing good. And then after that, my husband ended up getting job offers. He was already getting planned for other jobs. I just knew it wasn't going to work out anymore. I knew God didn't want me to be there. I knew and I felt in my heart that was not the place for me. I knew not anymore it wasn't. So it was getting close to 2022. It was either it was 2022 or it was getting close. I don't know. But regardless, I didn't go back. I told them I wasn't accepting the job. I told them that it didn't feel like it was going to work out. I didn't want to work with her again, and I didn't want to deal with the problems again. It took me, wow, that has a lot of transfer on that eye. That's my eyelash for sure. It took me a really long time to get over that. It took me a long, long time to get over that. Any job that I went to after that, I was kind of like PTSD. I thought that they were going to treat me the same way. I thought it was the same thing. All my other employers would tell me, and they would listen to my horror story, and they would just sit back and be like, how did you stay that long? And they were just completely blown away. But because of this, if anything went wrong at any other job that I worked at, I would leave. I would just get shell-shocked and walk out because all this stuff would start coming back. And I would be like, here we go again. It's going to happen again. And I had a really hard time keeping a job after that. Flash forward now to 2024. I got a phone call yesterday from them for an interview today. I'm not really sure if I want the job. I'm not really sure if I want to go back. I need to see the conditions. And I also need to talk to the owner. But there's a part of me that feels like it doesn't make much difference because of the way they're going to treat me and the way that they have treated me in the past. It's been over and over and over again, and it just keeps happening. And they keep hiring old management that should not be there. they keep putting people in there that just don't belong there. Anyway, the other job offer that I have today is from a place that I have always wanted to work at. I've always wanted to work at. I've been trying to get in there for 3 years. I know this sounds ridiculous to a lot of people. They'd be like, obviously take the other job because you've been trying to get in there for years. Oops. I can't believe this video is already 25 minutes long. That's pathetic. So I talked to my husband. I talked to my mom. I've thought about it. I've prayed on it. I'm trying really hard to come up with a solution. I don't know what to do at this point. I don't know which job I'm going to take. I don't know what's going to happen. I am nervous because I'm afraid that if I take one job, the other job's going to be a loss, or if I take the other one, it's going to be a loss. But either way, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard being in this position. Because it's a trust factor now. It's a huge trust factor. And I'm afraid that I'm going to get burned again. And that's my biggest concern. And I don't want to get burned again. I don't want to be in a position where I'm going to get taken advantage. And also, I don't want to lose this other position and this other opportunity by taking the other one. It's a very complicated thing. So I don't... Bottom line is, I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't know which direction this is going to go. I have this caramel macchiato sitting here. I even barely drank it. I don't really like it. It tastes kind of gross. I think they screwed it up. Like I said, I don't usually go to Starbucks, so this was kind of... And I know, and I'm fully aware that this is another get ready with me, but this is my channel, and I do what I want. Okay. Oops. Use my little pinky pink. Just to add some pink into it. The one job that I've wanted for a really long time, the only thing is I'm nervous because I don't know what I'm doing. It's new territory, so I don't know what the heck I'm doing. What, baby? Oh, cat interruption. Excuse me. Wait a minute. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't know how this is going to go down. I don't know. But I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it was kind of like abruptly ended yesterday. And I was kind of like, peace out. And I think, you know, everybody's like, what the flip just happened? But I will definitely let you guys know how it goes today and what job I pick and everything else in between. Or maybe I won't get a job at all because maybe neither one of them will want me. I don't know. It could go south, so I don't really know. But I hope to speak to y'all again soon. Thank you for watching my videos, and thank you for subscribing.